Good afternoon. I'm coming to you today from the George Washington Inn and Estate here in the library, where we have filmed before other versions for our Daughters of Liberty series. And this particular event today, I'm extending a little bit on what I already did a few days ago for our December 14th Colonial Dress-Up Day for my friend Emma Elizabeth that goes into the Facebook page 18th Century Sewing. In that particular video, I described this jacket, the pattern, where the material came from. I described my petticoat and ways that you could wear it. And I also mentioned that I had not yet had the time to decorate the sleeve. Now, the jacket works just fine the way it is. This is a fig leaf pattern, and it is shown both plain and it is shown with decorative cuffs. So I want to show you what I was going to do with the cuffs. This is a piece of extra fabric that I have cut from what's left over. As you can see, the trim, it matches the plaid stripe, or the big wide stripe in the center. So I've folded it over to make it a little narrower, and it's all hand sewn, all hand hemmed. And then I will ruche it, which is gathering together to make a cuff for the end of my sleeve. So what you do is you take the fabric itself and you simply sew in about 3/8 inch stitches, a running stitch, and I'm doing this one down the middle of the light cold stripe. And then you pull it through and gather the cuff together. So this one, I've already done 3/4 of it, and this is what it's going to look like once you put it on. So when I get done, this is the effect that the sleeve is going to have at the end. Now, I got this idea from a Metropolitan Museum of Art. There's an extant jacket that is shown with this long of a sleeve and this cuff at the end, and it's in a plaid that is this same color. And it's from this late 1700s era. After the time when ladies were so fond of doing flounces with lots of lace, self-trim, which is using the fabric of the jacket, got to become more frequent, and you can still make rather elaborate trim, like making a cuff that really makes a statement without a flounce. I personally prefer the cuff to the flounce because you don't drag it through things if you're eating a meal in a public company. Now, another set of cuffs that I made are copied from museum pieces that belonged to Martha Washington. These are made out of silk gauze with white silk ribbon trim, multiple layers, and gathered. They are shown in the museum on a gown that is a brocade, quite lavish. I'm going to show this gown. This is a Martha Washington gown copy that I made. I copied it out off of a portrait by Edward Savage of the Washington family as they were planning the capital area for the new republic. Now what you would do is you would slide this cuff onto the sleeve and putting the gathers to the front where they're shown. That is how it would look in a situation where you wanted to dress it up. This gown is a fairly plain gown, and it was a day gown for Martha Washington. But if she wanted to dress it up for something a little fancier, she did have a pair of cuffs. Now, there is also a written correspondence with Martha Washington documenting that she sent another dear daughter of liberty a pair of cuffs as a present, and she hoped that she would like them. So they were sent as presents as well. So that's the cuff. They are, instead of being made from elaborate lace, they are constructed usually out of gauze. You can trim them in ribbons and lace, but it is an available resource as opposed to maybe the precious laces that weren't available as much anymore. So thank you for watching. This is the Daughters of Liberty at the George Washington Inn and Estate.